Thank you, Scotty, and good morning. I love New York City. And to be more exact, I really like Manhattan. And the reason I go there about 2 to 3 times a year. And the reason I go there is because I have a daughter who has lived there for 25 years with her husband. And they now have two beautiful children, Madison, who is 14, and Miles, who is 12. When I tell people, and going there so much, you can guess that I have many frequent flyer miles, and I use them a lot. When I tell people that I'm going to New York City, oftentimes they'll make the statement, one of two statements. And one is everybody in New York City rude? And secondly, aren't you overwhelmed by the number of buildings that are there? And to both I say, no and no. And that's the short answer. The long answer is, I have never in my 25 years met a rude person in New York City. And I stop people often because I am challenged by directions and I have to stop and ask. I will say that New York City people are always in a rush, always moving, moving, moving. There's only two speeds, really. You're either standing still, waiting for a stop light to change, or you're jogging or walking very fast. And they rush, rush, rush. And I keep thinking, where's everybody going? Did their alarm clock not go off in the morning and they have to make up for time? I just am overwhelmed by that. In regard to the buildings are magnificent. The libraries, the museums, the restaurant, the shops, the theater, the stadiums. That is New York. This, what I call the city on steroids. I can't tell you how excited I am. It's like the first time I've ever gone, each time I go. Well, what has happened as of January 2021, my New York family called me on a Zoom call, and my daughter, in her usual direct way, said, "Mom, we have some really good news for you." And it is that we are relocating to Boston in July. And I said, before I could say anything, she says, and let me explain. I have taken a principal job in a suburb of Boston, and Mike has a professorship job in northeastern, Boston. And he will be teaching statistics. And I said, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart, I said, wow, that is terrific. That is nothing but a win-win for both of you and all four of you. And the children were there and they said, yeah, Nina, we get to learn a new city. And we go to that area often to visit Cape Cod and to camp. And we're very excited. And we'll be in the same school system as our mother, who will be principal. So I get off the phone and I go, wow, I didn't expect that. And I thought, well, you did and you didn't. You knew that they were looking around for maybe moving to Philadelphia, to DC, but I never had heard Boston. And I started thinking and going, this is going to not be easy for you. You just thrive on that city that never sleeps. And so I was there just 2 weeks ago, and in coming there, I kept holding on to that past. My gosh, is this the last time I'm going to be there and see the wonderful museums, the wonderful churches? I just became overwhelmed. And the thing I like the most is going to museums. And the one that I would recommend highly to all of you, if you haven't had the opportunity, is to go to the memorial, the 9/11 memorial and museum. It's like being at Pearl Harbor and standing on the USS Missouri. It's like going to Gettysburg and looking at that huge field and that cemetery, and you know you're on sacred ground. And it's so touching and gets to your heart and to your mind, those particular places. But probably what I'm going to miss the most of New York City is date night on Saturday night. And this has been a tradition of my children when they were 5 and 7. Miles was 5 and Madison was 7, and we have continued it. And that is we go out on a date, and the parents aren't allowed to go, and we just have a fun evening. And we we dress up like we're going to some fancy restaurant at Midtown, and we uh, walk 3 blocks and go to an IHOP. And we have the best time in the world. We all have our breakfast, as I've mentioned before, and then we always save room for one of those ice cream sundaes, and we just laugh and tell jokes and have a good time. Now, my daughter and son-in-law, they were like, well, you're not going to be the only people that have fun. So they always go out that night, and they go to a little fancier restaurant in Midtown, and sometimes they catch a movie. After we leave IHOP, we go home, and it's now movie time. So we all get in our pajamas, we fix a huge bowl of popcorn, and we put on a video, and we pull out the big queen, a hideaway bed, and we just have fun watching a movie together. And again, laughing, talking, as three folks do that are enjoying themselves. I'm still struggling with this past, present, and future. I know that I have to let go of and not try to make new memories. I have made the new memories. I have these wonderful memories that I will treasure forever. Nobody can take those away from me. And I have to start focusing on this present that I believe in strongly and try to live daily and anticipate the future. And I'm struggling with that, but I'm getting better and better at it. And when I left New York City this time, and as I said, I was there just 2 weeks ago, Miles came up. Miles came up to me, my 12-year-old grandson, and he said, Nina, I want to tell you something really important. And I said, what is that, Miles? And he said, I have been doing some discovery on my laptop, and I have discovered that Boston has a lot of places we have to investigate, the Freedom Trail, the Presidential Library. But he said the best news of all is they have 3 IHOPs in the suburb that we're moving to. And I laughed, gave him a big hug, and I went out the cab, and I thought, out of the mouths of babes, he has it down. Concentrate on the present, appreciate that past, and look to the future. That's it. Thank you.